I've been busy. I've been really busy. I haven't even opened this yet. It's still sealed. So this has been sealed for months. Damaged box from shipping. The shipping label was like stuck to it. I got this from Fraser's. So that was the cheapest at the time. The sales have kind of fluctuated since then. I had a little look earlier on. Different places are doing sales and some aren't. The place I originally got all these from aren't doing the sales anymore, but they were really crazy sales. They were like £10, £20 for each thing. I ended up spending like £40 on the whole N series pretty much. But this is the only N series that has a massive box. People assumed the pinpoint right there, I don't know if you can see it, was going to have a massive box, but they managed to like make it smaller by having the front end be a separate piece. But because we've got the pump handle and I'm guessing some breech stuff up here, we won't have a separate piece. This is probably the most budget-friendly N series out of all of them, hands down, because you get a 40-round drum magazine, drum style, but it's more of like an actual double stack. Because I mentioned this in the hobby a couple of times, that if we can get double stack, it will probably be in a belt configuration where it's double stack, but it's inside a belt that rotates, because a lot of air guns do actually use that type of system. For magazines, like if you look at any, even pistols, they come out and then you take the belt out of the pistol mag, and you load the belt with the pellets and you put them back in. Exactly the same, honestly, exactly the same style. But that's how you load ammunition that isn't like round, isn't completely round, or has an odd shape to it. Always just light, like the Nerf darts are. But not only that anyway, you get a 40-round drum, but you also get 80 darts. So you're getting double. You actually can load this twice. And you can fit quite a few of them up in the top of the mag up there. But yeah, I think the best thing is that it comes with extra darts. So if you do get the N series, this is probably the best one to get first, and then you've got extra darts and you can continue on that life cycle through the new N series stuff. But yeah, this one's marketed for the 8+. This one gets slightly less FPS just because of the barrel, more of a longer barrel than some of the other stuff, so you get like a couple of FPS less. They're calling this about the actual magazine itself about, but that's inside of this mag, and yeah, really cool. Extreme accuracy, speed and distance, it says on the front top there and on the side here. I'm calling this a 40 dart battle belt and a 16 dart storage. So yeah, you can fit a good amount on there. We'll see how that is though. Also has an advertisement for the refill packs, and it says it's only compatible with the N series dart. Doesn't look like we get a range claim, but we get the claim that it has extreme speed, range and accuracy, so that's the main thing. What's quite funny is the artwork on the bottom is usually different. Usually it's just, you know, separate because it has all the codes on it, but this actual magazine seems to spill over onto the bottom. I haven't seen that before. Tells you to go on the nerf.com. Doubt there'll be anything interesting, but it'd be good to see. And you can see the original price for this was £40. Where is it? I did not pay that for it. That's just the sticker that they leave on there. Just looking to see if there's anything else written on here that's of any worth. Not really. But yeah, there's no range claim, but it tells you that it's got a lot of power and speed and everything, so you know, that's where they're going with this. Very heavy blaster as well. When I got this in through the postman, I was like holding this, like carrying it in, like geez. But yeah, this I left this in the box because I've not had time. I messed with a couple of the other ones just because they're more convenient, I guess I would say. Also want to make sure this is all packaged properly when I open this, because this tape really is suspicious to me. I've never seen tape come from Hasbro where it looks like it's been opened before. So yeah, it's just a little strange, but we'll see. So seems to be all in there neatly. So this is all the darts in here. Actually comes in a cardboard box, which is interesting. The refill packs are like 50 as well, so you're getting the most that Nerf sell, I think, in this, unless they do, I think they do 100 pack as well. And then the blaster's in there, and the drum is in there too. And that drum is just friction fit between the cardboard that's holding the blaster at the very bottom down there. That's what I can hear. I'll put the box down. Let's take a look at this mag first. So yeah, quite thin plastic for these little chains, but they're very durable. That's the one thing I noticed straight away. And we have looks like a ratchet system. This belt looks like it possibly could actually de-link as well, if you wanted it to, maybe if it was needed to, fix it. I don't believe there's any way to remove. I'll hold the button in on the back, you can freely spin it. But it goes both ways. Yeah, really, really cool magazine design. This is something very forward thinking. The dart storage doesn't look too crazy. Got my darts in here from literally all the blasters, and even all the darts I've got from all the blasters. There aren't that many. The storage looks very well made. Yeah, that's nice. They're not too tight, so they're quite loose, but they're not loose enough to fall out. And they've actually got little dimples in the back for the DRM on there. Very interesting waffle design. And the plastic, there you go, goes all the way down. Very, very cool. It's not on the sides, but it's on the front, not on the back, surprisingly. 2023 Hasbro, written on the bottom there. And the nice thing about this mag is it's exposed both sides and the top where it needs to be, but on the bottom it's not. So, if you're in a Nerf or outside, you're not going to get mud all over your darts and cause a jam, because you could seriously if you got dirt in any of this, it might not move so freely. And also, you're going to be feeding literally mud into your blaster if you do that too. So looks like the top dart just rests on there, but there's almost no friction, but it sits there and it stays. It's very very, very interesting. Looks like you've got to load the front of the dart first and push it in, and then don't know if you can take these out just as freely. They seem to be, once they're in there kind of. It seems like that way anyway. I think the only way you can improve this is just have some little opening slots, because you can't really get them out. But the nice thing is, again, you could leave this loaded because there's literally no friction on these darts. Yeah, very, very cool mag. I'm liking that so far. So we'll go to the blaster. And there's that piece of cardboard there that holds it in. So I'm sure there's nothing in there. No. But we have some oil residue on there, so the blaster must have been well oiled. Actually. So let's do this now. So yeah, the weight of this isn't too bad actually. The mag weighs almost the same as the blaster, so combined they're quite heavy. Again, the stock is a little bit too short. You're having to literally squeeze up your arm to fire it. I had the same problem with the pinpoint, but they've got very, very similar stocks. There's a little mod I did with my one. It's definitely definitely not a visual mod, but what I will say is it's a very useful mod. So if we just put the stuff down. I showed this in my original video for this. This adds an extra inch, but it also gives you an extra couple of inches on the bottom, so that really does help, and it's sturdy. That's not coming off. It looks like crap, but it works. Of course, you can probably 3D print something. I think the same thing goes for this too. This could add, you know, I could probably get something, you know, something like that probably, and just tape it around and do the same thing. But yeah, 3D print might work. It's got a nice little face rest on there. The nice thing is once that is in your shoulder, that's completely lined up, you kind of use the rail as your sight. Yeah, that seems to be fine. The jam door opens up quite wide. So there's a little bit of play up front. I don't know if that will go once the mag is in. Yeah, it's definitely got an actual breech, and this isn't actually locked either, so you can leave this open while you're using it. So unlike the pinpoint, this already has that. But you see it's got like a skiddy pusher in there, and an O-ring on the pusher. This is very much, it has, I will say, it's taken a lot of things from our pro hobby, the hobby scene. So let's see how this works. There we go. So yeah, so that mag release is very stiff compared to the pinpoint one. I don't know why that's such a strong spring. You could probably downgrade that a little bit. But this works a lot like the Tommy gun, where you can just shove it in if you want, but you've got this little tab and little tab on the back of the mag, and you've got to kind of put that in and line it up. But that's a really smooth fit. And you can just hit that with your thumb, reach in through there. But yeah, that's very weighty. It's definitely it's balanced though, it's not too front heavy. But they've left this out because that way you can just reach your finger and do that. So you keep your finger inside the trigger guard but rest up against here and then put your middle finger outwards. Alternatively, you can just reach in and do it that way. Looking at this should be a bit more smoother. I don't know exactly why it's hanging up. It might be because of that little white tab there that slots into here. I'll try priming it back as well just to see. Yeah, it still has to notch in, so that doesn't, priming it back doesn't do anything. I think that is just for the mechanism. Right, so that's locking forward now. It locks forward when it's primed. That's very interesting. It doesn't have a lock when it's not primed, but that just makes it easier because there's less travel. This pump grip is really nice. It's not technically big enough for my hands. If I hold it sideways, it's fine. But if I try and twist that way, like into my shoulder more, it does dig into the palm of my hand a little bit. But if I do a more tactical grip where I bring my thumb up, that's quite nice. What I will say is, that's very loud, I don't know if you can hear that. And it is a shame that there is no slam fire because these blasters are still quite loud. Yeah, it's very loud. But it's very smooth, I will say that. Not too hard of a prime either, it's quite a weak prime to be fair. Right, so there is no lock, so if I don't push it all the way forward, I can pull it all the way back again, and then cycle the chain. So I'm really liking that. It's really smooth for what it is. Yeah, it's loud, but I'm looking at this. So you can. Obviously you would jam your blaster doing that if you are loaded, because the way this works is it picks up a dart from, rotates, picks up a dart from the belt, guides it into the barrel. This actually does use a barrel. The question is, does it have an internal barrel? Let's have a look down the barrel to see. It does, and I was going to say it has those rifling like strips that the little balls that they have. I can't remember the name of it now. The X-Shot did the Meteor, which I really like, but they were like the little foam 50 cal balls. So yeah, this actually does have a barrel. Wow. Let me check something out. Check this out real quick. Okay. So it's not, I don't think it's as tight as, let's see if it's good. No, it's definitely not as tight barrel as like a hobby style one. So that's interesting, but can we just load one dart into the barrel? That's what I want to try and do right now. Doesn't help with the style of this chamber. It's hard to actually. Almost got it in. Let's try this again. Yeah, it's definitely not like the pinpoint in terms of loading. So just load one into the barrel. Yep, fired. So it's good that it locks once it's loaded, and that's because you want this to maintain its air seal, because it uses that O-ring. There we go, there's the O-ring. It's got a lock into there. And the jam button allows you to cycle it even smoother, because it just disengages most of those locks. But you make sure you do put it to the rear, all the way to the rear first, otherwise it won't go forward. But the ergonomics are really nice. I definitely like this, and it's not too bad if you just crunch up your arm a little bit. I was expecting this to be more unwieldy in width, but the width of it isn't too crazy, considering the mag well is pretty wide. Definitely the biggest part of it is the mag. But yeah. And then to load it, just like that. Very, very quick. So let's get this loaded up. Just out of curiosity, I'm seeing some like paper in here, so I want to look at these darts. And I've actually sharpened this knife myself. I had a lot of people complaining that my knives weren't sharp enough, and I do agree. I sharpened this with tinfoil and a rock. You can do quite a lot with that. Yeah, and it worked very well. So, yeah, this is the instructions for the blaster. Very interesting inside of it in there. I guess it like cushions the darts a bit. Okay, what else is in there? The darts, and they're very densely packed in there as well. So we've got diagrams, and then how to use the blaster. So I will say, well, even in my old videos I used to complain that these instructions weren't good, and they weren't proper. They were just on some paper, like some plain paper. But this is actually printed nicely as well, with full colour. Tells you how to clear jams, and yeah, I mean it's good. It shows you how to store your blaster. It says do not store your blaster primed and ready to fire for the best performance, and it says do not store darts in the chamber. or in the storage area. That's probably just to like cover all their bases, but you can honestly, like even with the Sprinter mag, it stays fine. Yeah, they do look a little bit like squashed, like a little bit, but like considering this dart's been loaded in a magazine for like a while, like a month or two at least, I mean, it's got a little bit of deforming there, but it's not enough to actually affect accuracy. Everything stays good. So I'm quite impressed with that. And then this one's probably just, yeah, distances are approximate and based on test data. Blast performance will vary on dark condition and other factors. Yeah, I think they should, I don't know if they're watching, but if you are, Hasbro, I think you should also include the FPS and the range data on these, because you guys do it anyway in the factory and in the warehouse. So just write down what you guys find out, because a lot of this is just pointless. And I know you guys are trying to cover all your bases, but I think you could probably compress it down a little bit with how much writing that are on these. There's nothing else in that box now. I'll shove everything in there. Yeah, let's get this molded up. I am just going to use this box now as my N-Series dart box, because I just literally tipped them all from here into there and they fit, so perfect. So one tip, people say to have this primed first. That literally is because it looks like they tried to make a skinny pusher with this pusher. They tried to make it as narrow as they could, but it's not narrow enough for this design, so you can't compress this anywhere. So that is why when you try and put this in, it doesn't. I've locked it in, but what does it look like? Yeah, look at that dart. Oh, let's see if I can get this. It's like completely crushed. So when you go to, yeah, as soon as I touch that. So what you've got to do, obviously people want to carry these as magazines. They're not carrying this as a blaster where the drum stays in there. Take this top dart out. This is your, basically just so you can load the mag. And it'll load straight away. There we go. That way you still keep your loadability. Just make sure your top chamber has no dart in it, and that way you can load that. The other thing I noticed, you can't move this while this is in, so this is kind of meant to be as like a scavenge blaster, so you fire, and then as the spaces show up, that's when you reload it. You can't move this on the fly unless you take this out. So maybe that is why they made this removable, just so you can spin and load all the darts into the belt. Yeah, it's definitely a loud blaster to load and to shoot. It's very quick. The other thing I've noticed is really you're only limited by your hands with this magazine, because if you can load 2 or 3 darts, they just go in like that. If we could carry more darts in our fingertips, we could load them quicker, honestly. There's a couple of darts this side. I can see a couple of what I can't load, so if I drop the mag a little bit, I have to drop it all the way. It exposes more of it, and I can load them in. It's so easy to load and use this, it's insane. Of course I dropped the mag. Again though, the build quality is perfect on this. They don't fall out unless you bang them. I noticed when I banged it on the floor they fell out just because the ends could tip out. The only thing I would change about this is changing the belt colour to be like a different colour. Maybe white or something, just so you can see easier when they're loaded or not. So I go like that, it looks like just the empty belt unless I go closer. But I'm really liking this. It is a big thing to hold. I got big hands and yet I still can't get my hand all the way around it, which is why I dropped it. And I'm sure kids will probably do the same when they're using it. Also, the texturing is all over this. I really like it. It's got that waffle design all the way. There we go. It does make it a little bit grippier, easier to grip onto. But yeah, it's nice. Power, they all came straight back. Yeah, very, very cool. And obviously not too hard to prime it either. I was expecting it to be quite stiff to prime, but no, it's not too bad. So stay tuned for the range test. So there is a way to do slam fire on this as well. I've just figured it out. So if you fire it and pull it and sort of release a little bit. There we go. That's the slam fire. I'm literally keeping it held. You've got to literally use the inner web of your finger, and you've got to slowly like release the pressure, just enough to where it's not jamming. Because you can kind of, there you go. You can kind of jam it until you release the trigger. There's a certain way to do it. There you go. Quite hard to do it, and it's much louder. I see why they tried to take it out of the system, but it works. So I'll try that in my range test. Okay, now we're doing the accuracy testing and the range testing. We're just going to be going right up the top of there again, and we're going to be trying to hit the very centre portion of that. You can see sort of like there's like a little looks like a brown mark on there. I don't know if that's on my screen, but it's probably just a shadow. We're going to be going to sort of that area. And obviously if we can hit that, that's accuracy. I'm not sure we'll be able to hit it with this. The barrel is not the most accurate. We don't have a scar on there or anything like that. So we'll just see what we can do. This one definitely is not as accurate as other blasters, but we'll see. That was a pretty accurate shot. That was a flyer. Those first two were accurate. That was an accurate shot. So yeah, pretty accurate shots. There's only a couple of flyers. That was another accurate shot. Yeah, so it's getting better than I thought it was. When I'm rapid firing it, I'm getting less accurate shots. So probably just because I'm slam firing it. You get a singular shot, so it's pretty good. That was a bit of a flyer. Yeah, so there's like 1 in every 3 darts you get a flyer, but you've got a massive drum, so you don't really run out anyway. So it's sort of accuracy by volume, and you rarely miss anyway. So yeah, I'm actually impressed with this. I'm getting better accuracy than I was expecting. So yeah, definitely recommend one of these if you can find it on sale. Don't get it at full price. But yeah, thanks for watching guys. Comment, rate and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.